Brie, what were you like growing up?
Uncomfortable with myself.
When you looked at all these stories that you heard, did you find something in each one that you could relate to?
More than one thing, yes. That's the beauty of this, is in the sharing, you realize that even though it's all so specific, it is somehow incredibly universal at the end of the day.
For the heroes, what was it like though having somebody with a really huge profile, talking to you about your lives? What was that like?
Absolutely no disrespect to Brie. But when she was in that space, she didn't feel like a Captain Marvel. She didn't feel
Thank
like
goodness.
on television that I saw growing up. I felt like I was in the room with somebody who really wanted to listen. I mean, not somebody who was coming in, wielding this opportunity for me to be represented, but somebody who was creating a space and ultimately a platform for all of us to be heard, but who shared a lot about herself. So when you ask what she was like growing up, even though, I don't think we see it in the show, during our roundtable conversations, we learned a lot about Brie. And so I think that empowered us with the connection necessary to share ourselves and our stories.
Was that the same for you too?
I mean, it was surreal for me to be grouped in with all of these incredibly accomplished people, not just Brie, but all of the heroes have done so many incredible things with their lives, and just being associated with them is the highest honor.
Absolutely. And just to echo Sage and Alex, yeah, I mean, being able to meet these incredible people was honestly the most honoring experiences I've ever had. And so, and meeting Brie was just a very, I just felt like she created a space where I really felt like I could be, authentic and tell an authentic story and, really create a safe space. And so for me, that was incredibly impactful.
Brie, when you've been, so used to being interviewed, how is it to then be the interviewer?
Well, I feel like I know what's a good question and what's not, and what feels invasive and what does not. I hope. I mean, I've had enough experience with that. So in this case, it was just about facilitating, and I'm a super feeler. Like, I feel people's energy, and all of these young people, I think they do as well. And so there was just this sense in the room that it wasn't just, I was kind of off to the side. They were all at a certain point kind of doing their own thing and helping each other and cheering each other on. And I was just there to kind of hold space, to kind of hold the room, and be there if anyone needed anything. But very quickly, no one needed me to do anything. They were like off. They knew exactly what to do and how to be in tune with one another.
It seems so powerful though in those sessions where you're with everybody, where you have everybody there and then you just kind of throw something out. How did that feel for all of you? Was that as empowering as I thought it was?
Yeah, definitely. I think that growing up, we are told, for all of the reasons that you've heard in the show, that we don't deserve to be heard, that we don't deserve space, and that we don't deserve to be seen. And so having somebody like Brie, and not just Brie, but the entire production team dedicated to telling our stories is something that's incredibly empowering, especially, speaking from my experience as a mixed trans girl growing up. I was told that I wasn't to be seen, that I should be quiet, and that if I was ever going to be trans, that I should keep it a secret. And now we have, $1 million cameras in front of us dedicated to making sure that we're seen and we're heard. So it was incredible.
And Brie, have you already started thinking about another season of this?
I mean, I would love, these stories are never ending, right? And the idea is that the representation just needs to keep growing. The beauty is that it's all about the individual. And so we've barely scratched the surface on what it is, because even though we've told stories that deal with big issues, there's nuance to every single one of these things, plus so many things that we didn't even get to get into. So the beauty is like, you've watched this series and you've seen these courageous people who took the first step for all of us that didn't have the courage to say something. And hopefully we can continue to grow this more seasons. But also, what about other countries? We've thought about growing up Brazil, growing up Japan. Why can't we continue this and keep the conversation going? Because this is a huge part of creating a better world, is first learning to know that we can love ourselves and there's nothing unlovable about us.
Ah, that's so great. It's like Maya Angelou says, we're more alike than unalike.
Yes.
And I think it really resonates with this show. So thank you all for doing it. It's a real special thing.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.